A lot of entrepreneurs, they try and grow a business, they try and scale a business, and the energy required to get their business to grow is burning them out. They feel completely out of energy, they feel out of creativity, and in many ways they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted, and they've just got nothing left to give. And that is largely because they're not following the process that I'm going to share with you today. This video is about how to scale up a business to millions of revenue without burning out by following a set of key stages and key steps and building a team along the way that knows exactly where they are in the process. And if you follow these stages and build this team, you're not going to burn out as you scale into the millions and even exit your company for millions. Let's get into exactly how to scale a business without burning out. Step one of this process is called Founder Opportunity Fit. This is about you, just one person, figuring out what is a good opportunity for you. Now, the key to Founder Opportunity Fit is that you achieve a nice balance between something you're passionate about, something that is a problem that you know how to solve and you've solved before, and something that is a prize that you deliver to a particular type of customer who you enjoy working with. So we're looking for something that really fits who you are. Founder Opportunity Fit is about finding the right opportunity for you. See, something that would energize me may be a total drain on you, and vice versa. The perfect thing that you love doing may be a total nightmare for me. So it's all about figuring out the Founder Opportunity Fit. If you get this wrong from the beginning, it's going to be almost impossible to scale a business because everything about that business is going to grate against you. So it's really important that you figure out how to move towards a good Founder Opportunity Fit. This is about you doing some soul searching. This is your self-awareness. This is about you doing the work to figure out what's a good opportunity for you. The mistake a lot of inexperienced entrepreneurs, and especially young men, do all the time is they just focus on the opportunity. They're not focused on what is a good fit for them. They're just focused on what's the biggest opportunities. They might say it's crypto, it's AI, or it's drop shipping. They're thinking about what represents a great opportunity. They've seen someone else making a ton of money. They've seen someone driving a Lambo, and now they're just simply thinking about the opportunity, but they're not thinking about Founder Opportunity Fit. It's founders who find the right thing for them that do really, really well. I know a founder who has made millions selling these little cabins in the woods in Canada, and it's a weird opportunity. It's not for me, it's not for a lot of people, but because he found something that he was passionate about, that he could represent really well, he's done incredibly well, and no one can really compete with him because it's his passion, it's his thing, and he's found something that is a perfect opportunity fit for that particular founder. So step one, Founder Opportunity Fit. Step two is called Minimum Viable Product Testing, right? So minimum viable product is where we're testing to see if we've figured out that there is some sort of opportunity here and that there's an opportunity that you could take to market. Normally we do this with two people. So there are two questions that you have in the early days of a business, which is, can we sell it and can we build it? So can we sell it is all about figuring out whether people will signal their interest in buying something. The number one tool for getting this right is called a waiting list. If you can launch a waiting list and get people to join the waiting list, you're going to be able to test whether people are willing to buy it. Now, what you want to do with the waiting list is you want to get people to say, yes, I'm joining the waiting list. You want them to tell you how much they're willing to pay, what problem they're trying to solve, what outcome they would like to have delivered, and what else they've tried that hasn't worked. And all of that information tells you that people are willing to buy this thing. The second question is, can we build it? So in many cases, your business will rely upon having certain suppliers or having certain technology that you can develop or having certain employees that will come in and work on the team. And you need to do a little test to say, if we launch this business, how hard is it going to be to satisfy the demand? How hard is it going to be to make customers happy? So the two people who are going to work together on this are going to say, can we sell it? Can we build it? These two people could be co-founders. These two people could be a founder plus an assistant. It could be a founder plus a consultant or a founder plus a mentor, but you want to have two people who are going to bounce ideas off each other at this level of minimum viable product testing. Now, to do this, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can typically have a slide deck, a brochure, a landing page. You can have surveys, right? All of the things that are required just simply to gather the data, but not actually do anything in the marketplace. So there's not a lot of money to spend. It's just about capturing the data at this point. So what are you actually looking for so that you do know this is a winner? I like to run something called a 30 test or a 150 test. A 30 test is where I sit down with 30 potential customers to see if I can potentially sell them something, and I'm looking for 3 or more people to say, yes, I'm willing and ready to buy when the product's available. So 3 out of 30, and that kind of gives me a good signal. Or a 150 test is when I go online and I get 150 people to join a waiting list, or I get 150 people to click from an ad over to a landing page, but I'm getting clear signals at a level of 150 or more people who are saying, yes, I'm interested in this thing. So a 30 test is when I'm just talking to people one-on-one, and a 150 test is something that I'm doing online, and that is one of the biggest clues that I use to say I'm onto a winner here. Anything that exceeds those numbers, and I'm starting to get excited. On the supply side, I'm looking to create a forecast of what are the key expenses, what are the key overheads that are required in order to fulfill the sales. So if I have 15 customers who want to buy something, how much is it going to cost to sell those things? And in particular, I'm looking for something called unit economics. Unit economics are essentially, at scale, what would be the costs of building something and then selling it. So for example, a software company might cost $500,000 to set up, but then it has amazing unit economics. Every additional customer costs almost nothing to put onto the platform. So I'm really interested in understanding what are the setup costs and what are the unit economics. Okay, the third step is a step called product market fit. This is typically something that we do with 4 people who I like to call the fire starting team. So the fire starting team are going to go out and try and figure out how to do product market fit. Now, in order to do this, they're actually going to make sales. So this is where they're going to run launch campaigns, they're going to sign up real customers, but they're going to be super hands-on with those first customers. Even if you're running something like a software business, you want to sit side by side in a real room, shoulder to shoulder with your customers and see how they interact with your product. When I was launching scoreapp.com, I actually sat down and set up scorecard marketing campaigns with real customers to see how they would interact with our very early stage platform. When I set up Dent Accelerators, we ran live physical trainings, and I even went out to people's physical work environments to see how they were applying the ideas in the real world. I wanted to figure out whether we had product market fit. Did we build something that fulfilled upon the promise? Could we create something that would deliver the desired outcome for a customer? So what we're trying to do is fine tune the product so it is actually a really great product that customers love. Now imagine that when you came up with the product, you thought, oh, I'm going to create it in blue, but customers keep saying, I wish it was in red. Okay, great. You can be flexible on that. Maybe you said, oh, I'm going to create a 6-month payment plan, but customers say, actually, I want to subscribe for a minimum of 12 months. Okay, great. We can change that. We can evaluate it. Maybe you thought that customers didn't need a guarantee, but in order to sign up, they do need a guarantee. So you can add the guarantee in. So these are all the decisions that you're making at the level of product market fit. So this is typically something you'll do with 4 people. You might have an associate key person of influence. You might have a head of product, head of sales, and someone who's an assistant, right? So you've got this lovely little team here, and you're trying to make decisions about this product market fit. Now, if you skip this step and you don't get product market fit, this is going to lead to burnout, because if you try and scale a product that's just not quite right, then you're always going to have customer service complaints. You're always going to have to work extra hard for the sale. You're going to have to work hard to solve recurring problems for customers that keep coming up. So getting product market fit right at the beginning means that you're going to have a much smoother journey as you go forward. Getting only 90% of product market fit means you've got a 10% drag that is going to weigh you down, and it's going to cause you all sorts of stress and anxiety as you scale up. See, it's one thing to get product market fit for 10 to 100 customers and the level of stress that creates. But imagine when you're getting 10 to 100 customers every single week. See, it's very manageable to work with 10 to 100 customers and fine tune the product and get product market fit. It's very stressful if you're getting 10 to 100 customers a week later on down the journey, and every single one of those customers has a little bit of a niggle that you've got to iron out. So you want to get this right so that you don't burn out later. The next step is called go to market. And this is typically a team of 6 to 12 people. Now, the one reason I keep mentioning the team here is because you need to have enough people on a team so you don't burn out. You want people to be able to specialize. You want the salesperson just focused on selling. You want to yourself be focused on the strategy and orchestrating campaigns and improving the product. You want to have your customer success team who are just focused on customer success. You want to have enough people on the team so that your business can thrive, but no one is spread too thin. Now, what is go-to-market all about? Go-to-market is about making sales one at a time. lots of sales, one at a time. You're making sales. You're getting into a rhythm of making sales every single week, and you're getting into a rhythm of looking after customers every week. So your product is delivering, people are enjoying it, it doesn't have a lot of niggles, and you're able to run campaigns and you're able to make sales, and you're getting into a nice rhythm. Now, typically, go-to-market will take you somewhere from high six-figure revenue up to maybe low seven-figure revenue. So I typically see businesses that are doing $750,000 a year up to maybe 3 or 4 million a year, and they're in that go-to-market phase. 6 to 12 people, making sales, creating happy customers, everything's going along smoothly. It's often the case that this is also described as the lifestyle business. This is where you get a lovely little team of people, a nice stable business, everything's going nice and smoothly at this point. If you got product market fit right, and you're now at go-to-market, everything's going really, really nicely. So everything's going nicely, and then you decide to put yourself under a lot of pressure with this next step called scale up. So scaling up is probably one of the most stressful parts of the business journey. And this is where you're going to launch more products into more territories. You're going to have a bigger team, right? So you're really going to ramp things up. In go-to-market, you might have been dealing with one country, one product, one type of customer. In scaling up, you might have multiple types of customers, multiple campaigns, multiple countries, and you might have launched 3, 4, 5 different products. So you're now in this scaling up phase. And typically, scaling up really begins at about 30 people. So you've got an executive leadership team, and you've got some other teams of teams, and typically you're in 30 to 150 people plus in this scaling up phase of the business. Now, in the scaling up phase, the emphasis comes off the founder being the main source of inspiration and the main source of leadership, and it goes onto a executive leadership team. So you typically have a CFO, a CTO, a COO, a CMO, and all the other C-suite executives. And then you might have a head of sales, a head of product, you might have a head of customer success, you might have a head of finance. So you've now got a bit of a team forming. And all of this team, they're all working together to manage the complexity of scaling up. Remember here, we've got extra products, markets, and territories. So multiple products, you might have 3 or 4 hit products here. Multiple markets, you might have multiple types of ideal customer personas, and multiple territories, you might be operating in different countries as well here. So this is the scaling up phase. Now, one of the reasons that burnout really happens around scale up is because the founder will not let go. They are going to still hold on tight and pretend that they can do all things, and they can be the finance person, the product person, the marketing person, the leader. They're going to pretend they can do all of it. They're not going to attract an amazing team of leaders who can actually lead. They're going to get in the way. They're going to meddle. They're going to have hands on. They're going to spread themselves too thin, and they're going to start dropping balls, and that's going to cause stress and burnout for themselves and their teams. The founders that do this really well, they identify what are the few things that the founder does really, really well, and they just focus on doing those few things, and then they build a trusted team of executives and leaders around them, and they let those people get on with leading. The perfect scenario is that you attract overlings, not underlings. An underling is someone who is underneath you and you're bringing them up. Maybe someone who's not as good as their job as you could do it, but they've joined the team, so you're bringing them up anyway. Overlings, especially in scale up, are people who they've done it all before. Ideally, you're going to have a CFO who has run a business that's 10 times bigger than yours. You're going to have a head of product who has previously scaled a product from 5 million to 50 million a year. You're going to have someone who's leading the sales team who's previously run a sales team of 50 plus people, and they're coming in and working with your sales team of 10 people. So these are people I would call overlings, not underlings. They're the people who know how to get your business up to that next level. And if you do that, you won't burn out. But if you try and hold the reins and be the big dog and make sure that you're the person who knows the most about everything, that is a recipe for burnout. Our final stage of the journey is called exit. Now, exit is something that everyone's going to do with every single business. How are you going to exit your business? Well, you might pass away. If you die, you exit the business that way. Maybe you're going to exit the business because it fails, it shuts down, and you go insolvent and you have to exit the business through insolvency. Maybe you're going to exit the business by having a business that runs without you, and you become a shareholder, but you've got a leadership team and a management team, and you exit with your time. Or maybe even you're going to sell the business for a life-changing amount of money. An acquirer is going to come along and buy the business. The key here is to have a deliberate exit, not an accidental exit. What we want to do is ideally sell the business for a life-changing amount of money, or have a business that can run without you. Either of those are going to be better exits than the insolvency or the dropping dead exit, right? So what we want to do is have a planned exit. Now, in order to plan your exit, you need a dedicated team of 4 people who are working on this as a special project. These 4 people are going to find potential acquirers. They're going to put together the data room. They're going to capture all of the relevant data and information and put together documents that an acquirer is going to be impressed by. They're going to create things like org charts and financial forecasts, and they're going to formalize the assets of the business. They're going to reach out to potential strategic acquirers or financial acquirers, and they're going to get them interested and engaged in the process. They might even work with an investment bank or a team of M&A professionals, and these 4 people are going to be focused on getting the exit. Now, if you've got 3 things in place, that is a really great team, really great assets, and a really great forecast of where the business is heading, you can definitely end up with a exit that changes your life. You can sell the business for millions, you can retire, you can go again, you can go back to founder opportunity fit now that you're a different person because you've been through this whole experience. And then you can find another opportunity if you want to and do it all again, or you can invest your money into something else and live as more of a retired person if you wanted to do that as well. So the important thing here is that by going through a process, you're taking the stress and the pressure out, and you're less likely to be burning out. You know that you're moving from founder opportunity fit to minimum viable product testing, product market fit, go to market, scaling up and exit, and that you're just moving through a process, and at all stages, you've got the right people on the team who can help you to go from this stage to this stage to this stage. If you follow this process, it's not stressful being an entrepreneur. You're executing a process, you're going through a step-by-step approach, and you can put your energy into the things that matter most and not spread yourself too thin. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope that takes some of the stress out of entrepreneurship. If you enjoyed this video, give it a comment, give it a like, give it a subscribe, send it and forward it across to an entrepreneur who's maybe a little bit stressed at the moment, and show them this video as well. I hope you're enjoying these videos. I look forward to seeing you next time, and I hope your business is succeeding. All the best.